Hello everybody, my name's Zahir and I want to welcome you all to my channel Plants and Paints. Today we're going to be doing another plant haul and we're going to be covering about 70 plants today. Slightly different from my last plant haul because in my last plant haul I sat down throughout the video and unfortunately because of how crowded it was around me I wasn't able to get up close and show you any of the plants in much detail. So this time what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to stand throughout the video and I'm actually going to make an effort to put those plants up as close to the camera so that you're able to see the plants in as much detail as possible. So we're going to get started on the first plant. So what I'm actually going to do, you're going to see me popping in and out of the screen unfortunately because I'm having to bend over to pick up the plants, and also I'm going to be reading from my list of plants that I have because I've got them set out in a particular order around me. So what we're going to do, we're going to get started, and the first plant that I'm going to show you is the Anthurium violinorum hybrid. So violinorum hybrid. So I'm just going to go and grab that right now. This is actually a Peruvian plant and it's actually quite a rare plant. I was reading up about it earlier and it's quite an interesting plant actually, but this is a hybrid version of that, so I guess that would make it even rarer. Yes, it does have a yellow leaf on there. Unfortunately, a couple of the plants that came in my most recent plant haul due to the weather did get a little bit of cold damage on them, but you know, we show our plants pretty and their imperfections as well. So this is the violinorum, so Anthurium violinorum, and as you can see it is actually quite a beautiful plant, very spectacular, and that's the hybrid version. And I've actually got the normal version of that as well, which I'm going to pull up now, and you can see like they do have quite stark differences, and I think these are the nicer two leaves without too much cold damage on them to show you. But again, that is the violinorum, Anthurium violinorum. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you the Warocqueanum. Now, sorry, again, I will be popping on and off the screen. It already, to me, it feels so peculiar that I'm doing that. I will try and mention which plants are already sold in the video as well, so that you know you're not wasting your time contacting me asking me if it's still available. So this is the Queen Anthurium that I got in. I've also got two smaller ones here which I'll show you in a second, but this particular one is actually sold, I'm afraid. I do have another large one that came in. As you can see, this leaf has a little bit of cold damage. I did tell the guy who actually purchased this that the second leaf is probably not going to last, but it does have new growth on there, and this plant actually has quite a good rooting system in it as well, so it should fare quite well. So that's the first Queen Anthurium, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the other two that I got. You're going to keep seeing my bulb patch throughout the video, which is quite hilarious. Sorry about that. So that's one of the Queen Anthuriums, and this is the other one. Again, a little bit of cold damage on these. Queen Anthuriums really are not the best plants to ship during this kind of weather. There aren't too many plants with cold damage, to be honest. There are the odd few, that's really about it. Next we've got the Anthurium veitchii, which I do believe is down here somewhere. Yes, here it is. So this is the veitchii. I do have two of these in this pot. They're only small little baby ones, but as you can see they are nonetheless a beautiful plant. Veitchii is one of my favorite of the Anthuriums. In fact, also known as the King Anthurium, to go with the Queen Anthurium, the Warocqueanum. And the next is the Florida Beauty. So let me find where that is. That's down here. So this is the Florida Beauty. Now this is actually an awesome specimen that I've got here. Unfortunately this one is sold again. This hopefully will be shipped out to the person who's bought this tomorrow. But that is a lovely specimen, really, really nice. I mean, look at the variegation on that leaf. It looks absolutely beautiful. And I've got another 2 of these. What I will do is I will show you the other one that is sold. So this one is also sold. This one just has 2 leaves on it, but I do have one left, and that is this one. So this is the one that I currently have left. And it's fairly decent size as well, but not every leaf on this one is variegated. Well, I'm sure it will continue to produce variegation. The branch that has the variegation is actually producing new leaves at the moment. So that is the Florida Beauty. Next we've got the XL Billietize, so the large Billietize. So we've got this one here, a beautiful specimen. As you can see, those leaves are just absolutely beautiful. I do really, really like these large Billietize. I think you'll know from one of my posts recently where I was feeling quite happy that I'd received the plants, and one of the first plants I pulled out, the weight of it was heavier than any of the other plants in the plant haul, and it was the extra large Billietize, and this is actually it, and I referred to him as in the video as Big Bill. And yes, so again, say hello to everybody, Big Bill. This is a magnificent plant. That first Billietize I just showed you is actually sold. I'm toying with the idea whether I want to keep this one or not, but to be honest, I can get them in these sort of sizes, so I probably will be willing to let it go if somebody twists my arm enough, I suppose. Providing, you know, it goes to a good home, I'm sure I'll be happy to let it go. But this is an absolutely beautiful specimen. I mean, just look at the size of that. Those leaves are huge. I mean, as a head test, that is just ridiculous. That is such a beautiful plant. So next we've got the Philodendron melanochrysum. So these again, they are extra large size melanochrysums. I'm going to apologize again for keep popping on and off the screen, but I wanted to make sure that I at least get to show you the plants properly. So unfortunately I'm going to have to keep bending over to pick up the plants and show you what is what. So this is the first XL melanochrysum. Now again, these have absolutely huge leaves. This particular one is sold. I had a customer contact me and say that, you know, they'll take the biggest one that I've got, and this is actually the biggest one, and as you can see, it is absolutely huge. One of the leaves does have a little bit of yellowing on there, and I'm sure that will drop off soon, but as you can see on the back, it has new growth coming out, so it will produce a new leaf in due course. But a beautiful specimen, as you can see, absolutely huge. So that's one of the melanochrysums. That one's actually sold, and there we go. I knew it would drop off eventually, and there it is. That leaf is now gone. Let me show you the other one, and this is the second one. Now this one seems to have fared very well over the travel. I mean, its leaves are just looking absolutely perfect. I mean, those leaves look, you know, they've got the tiniest little bit of markings on them, but other than that, that is absolutely stunning. I mean, for a melanochrysum, the size of that, as you can see, look, my hand is in the top corner, and that leaf is just, it's just huge, and it's so perfect as well. I love the velvety feel of these. Okay, so that is the melanochrysum. Next, we've got the Aglaonema pictum tricolors, which is over here. I did the same thing I did with these last time. I actually ended up putting them into one pot. I think more this time it wasn't due to the fact that I'd run out of pots. I was potting up for 2 solid days because I was going to work. My plant delivery arrived during a weekday, and basically I was coming home in the evening after 6 p.m. I was potting up till God knows what hour in the morning, and then going to sleep, getting up, going to work, coming back the following evening, then potting up again. So it took me over 2 days, and to be honest, by the end of the second day and having to plant 70 plants up, I was really quite shattered. So I just started putting several into one pot if I had the same plant, and the Pictum Tricolor was one of those. But as you can see, again, these shipped really well, which I was quite surprised, because some of the others turned up with cold damage, where these usually are really quite susceptible to that, but they turned up in great condition. So that's the Aglaonema Pictum Tricolor, and as you can see, they are some beautiful specimens. One of these is sold, the other 3 I still have available. So next on my list is the Gloriosum. So let's find the Gloriosum. So this is one. This is the biggest of the 2. That leaf is absolutely beautiful, absolutely stunning leaf. This one is sold. In fact, both of my Gloriosums are sold. This has a bit of a yellow leaf on there, cold damage from the travel in. So, but other than that, this leaf is perfect. It has got new growth at the base as well, where it's going to produce a new leaf. But that's the Gloriosum, and as you can see, that the leaf itself, as a head test, just putting that right next to me, that leaf is humongous. But beautiful plant. I actually really like these. I think I will get some to add to my collection. I feel really silly that I keep having to pop off the edge of the screen. I think next time what I'm going to try and do is put the camera on my kitchen top and have everything on the sofa in front of me, so I'm not having to lean over so far. But that's forward planning. I had actually planned on recording this video yesterday, but I've had such a busy weekend as well. I just haven't had a chance to properly plan this video out. But again, that's the second Gloriosum, also sold. But yep, like I was saying, absolutely beautiful plant. The leaves on this are absolutely stunning. I do really like these. Really nice plant. Next, we've got the variegated Burle Marx. I think my most recent video was actually on the variegated Burle Marx, but I've got 5 of them in a pot here, and compared to the ones that have usually turned up to me, these are absolutely huge. I've got quite a big pot there, as you can see, and that pot is full to the brim. I did see one in here that I actually liked so much that I think I'm actually going to keep it and add it to my collection, because this is a plant that I do want to add to my green wall. And in fact, the one that I want to keep is from this bundle here. I mean, that variegation on there is just beautiful, really nice. But yeah, that is 5 variegated Burle Marx in that pot there, doing quite happily. They're all standing to attention, looking fairly good after their shipping in the cold. So I'll let you have a quick look at that while I figure out what I'm picking up next. Next, we've got the Anthurium forgetii. Now, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to show you a hybrid that turned up first, and this is actually sold. So this is a Anthurium forgetii, but it's a hybrid, and I was discussing it with the person who's bought it, and I think it seems to be a hybrid with the Ace of Spades, because the leaves on it seem to be very much in line with how the Ace of Spades grow. I mean, you can use that for reference. It's got the curled leaves at the top here, and it's producing new growth at the moment as well. It's got a new leaf on the way out. But absolutely beautiful. I love this plant. You know, there was one particular person I knew who would be very interested in this, because they sent me a post of a forgetii hybrid quite recently that somebody else had put up, and I knew from their reaction that they really liked it. And I think this pretty much is that same hybrid of that plant, and it's the first time we've seen that hybrid come available. And I do believe that this is from that same hybridization, because it's from the same region. The plant came available to me at the same time that that person had posted that they had that hybrid out at that time. So that is the hybrid forgetii. I'm going to pull the other 2 up that I have. just show you those. So as I mentioned, that one is sold, but this is another one here which is not sold at the moment. To be honest, I think a lot of the reason a lot of my plants aren't sold at the moment is because I just haven't had a chance to post a lot of them, because I've gained so many new followers recently that when I'm posting a picture, the amount of messages that I'm getting are just endless. And you know, I'm not complaining about that at all. I really appreciate that so many people are showing so much interest in what I'm actually doing. But I'm spending so much time just answering questions at the moment, and you know, giving people information about what is available. So I'm not getting huge amounts of time to actually make posts on my Instagram account. This is the other Forgetii, which this one is sold, I do believe. In fact, I'm pretty sure this one is sold. So I've only got the one that I just showed you left. So that is the Forgetii. After that, we have something quite special. I'm quite excited to actually have this in my stock. When I first saw them on the internet, I really like them. I like the ruffled leaf pattern on them. You know, they're really quite stand out, but I have quite juvenile ones. So what I actually have is the Anthurium rotulante. I think I said that correctly. But this is the first of them. So this is the Anthurium rotulante, and you can see the rippling starting to occur on this leaf here. I can actually feel it in there. But on the other plant that I've got, it seems to be a bit more prominent on there. But yeah, beautiful plant. Really dark velvety leaves, really nice. I've seen them in two slightly different color forms. One seems to be really light green and one seems to be really dark green, and this definitely falls under the dark green category. So that's Rotulante number 1, and this is Rotulante number 2, and this seems to be falling into the light green category. I mean, you can see from the leaves there, it's already starting to take on its shape in there. You can see the ruffles in the leaves at the top here starting to occur all the way down. If I move it around a bit, you might actually be able to see it a bit better. But another yellowing leaf on there, but it is producing new growth at the moment. You can see a new leaf popping out there. But yep, that's the Rotulante. As I said, I was actually quite happy to have that added into my collection. I was quite pleased when that turned up. In fact, when I was first looking at them, I was kind of thinking, like, what are these? Because it doesn't stand out that they've got that ruffled leaf on them. You really have to pay attention and look at them to see, because they're quite juvenile. It's still developing that. But yeah, absolutely beautiful plant. So next we've got the Philodendron White Knights. So let me find those. They are here. What I'm going to put that one there. So this is one here, the Philodendron White Knight. Now it's producing a new leaf at the moment. I don't know if you can see, but at the bottom it has got some brilliant white on there. I don't have any background lights on today, so you can't actually see that too well in the video, but this is absolutely, it's massive compared to any that I've had in the past. This particular one is very big, and it does have a significant amount of variegation on there. This one is actually still for sale. It's one of two that I got. The other one is actually not available anymore, and the second one is this one. I absolutely love that. Look at the variegation on that leaf. That leaf is just stunning. And this one also is producing a new leaf at the moment. But yeah, that is the White Knight. Absolutely beautiful. I generally get these in every order, and most of the time I tend to get them with a decent amount of variegation on there. So if you are looking for one, don't hesitate to contact me, because generally I do put them in every order. So next I have I'm going to have to pick my paper up for this because it's quite a new plant to me. I requested to see if there was any of these available because I did have a customer request for them. In fact, I had 2 customer requests for them, and one of those particular customers had actually turned around and said that they've been looking for this plant for over a year. So I spoke to my supplier and he said that he could get it. So I actually ended up ordering, I think it was 3 of them, because I knew 2 people actually wanted them. So I thought I would have an extra one in stock just in case when it was time for me to pull these out and start showing people, that I would have an extra one available should it be required. So this is the Anthurium portile. I think that's how you pronounce it, but feel free to correct me on anything. You know, when something is new to me and I'm looking at the name, half of the time is spent in consideration of how do I actually pronounce this, and this is definitely one of those plants. So it's the Anthurium portile or portili. I know I just made an absolute mess of that, but this is the plant here. Another one that's turned up with absolutely huge leaves, but beautiful plant, really beautiful. Velvety and leathery at the same time. Really, really nice. This particular one is sold. This is going to be shipped to somebody who's waiting for it. Hopefully I'll get this out tomorrow. My plan is to get as many of my orders that have actually been waiting out tomorrow. I've actually taken a day off just to be able to post these out. I'm sure if the person who knows that he's waiting for these, he's got 3 plants off of me, just to give that person a clue, but this belongs to you. This is to add to your collection, and as you can see, it's a beautiful specimen. One of the leaves has a little bit of cold damage, which is that leaf there. I'm not going to remove it, I'm going to leave it on there and let you decide what you want to do with it, but also it's got new growth occurring as well. So a beautiful specimen there. I'm going to pick the other one up now to show you the second one that I have here, which is right here. He got a little bit of leaf damage in transit, got the tip of his leaf ripped there, and a little bit of cold damage on this leaf here, but other than that he's in pretty much perfect condition. He's got several leaves on there, and again, as I mentioned, one of the people who had asked for this said that they've been looking for it for over a year and not been able to find it. So I'm happy to have been able to source that for the person. Now, whilst I'm on that subject, I just want to point out that, you know, if you are looking for a particular plant and you have struggled to find that plant, this is again the same plant, just the 3rd one of that. So one of them is sold. There are 2 available. The biggest one of the two that I showed previously is sold, and the second 2 are available. This leaf had a little bit of cold damage and we've got 1 yellow leaf, but other than that the plant seems happy and healthy, as you can see. So yeah, as I was saying, if you're looking for any particular plant and you have struggled to find that plant for a while, I do like taking requests off of people. I spend a lot of time trying to source things for people. I've got several suppliers available to me, and I generally will send that message out to everybody. And up till this stage, there's only been 1 or 2 occasions where they've not said to me that they're not available. All they've said is that I have to wait until a particular time of year, but no problem, they can absolutely get them. So in fact, I've had no situations where I've been told, no, I can't actually have that plant. The worst thing is they've told me I just have to wait, which is absolutely fine. I then portray that across to the customer who's looking for the plant, and you know, they're generally happy to know that I can get it, which is, you know, a great start, I suppose. So that is that. Next, we've got something quite special. I'd asked for this on 2 occasions in my orders. The supplier said he can get it for me, but I'm going to have to wait until he actually is able to go and find it. Now, this is the Anthurium Queen of Hearts. I've had several requests for this plant, and finally I have a couple in stock. Now, this particular one is sold. It's got a little bit of cold damage on the leaves. The person who's purchased this off me has purchased 2 and is possibly considering a 3rd plant to purchase. So that person, if you're watching, you know that this is your Queen of Hearts. It's producing new growth. It's got a huge stump on the bottom, so it's actually, you know, the potential for producing a magnificent plant is really quite high with this one, and I absolutely love it as well. It's such a beautiful plant, really, really nice. I particularly love the way it produces these new leaves in this, like, I don't think the color shows up properly, but it's like a brown burgundy color. Really, really pretty, really pretty. And the second one is right here, and this is the second Queen of Hearts. Compared to the last one, this one's quite juvenile, but again, it's produced a new leaf. Sorry. And these are the leaves that it's got at the moment. I don't know if you can see that properly on there, but yeah, let me show you like that. That looks a bit weird. Yep, there you go. So that is the Queen of Hearts. And next we have here is another one. I'm going to struggle to pronounce this name. Again, this was a customer request. Prior to this, I'd never heard of the plant, and same thing, the customer had actually turned around and said that they've spent a year looking for this plant as well, and they've not been able to find it. So I spoke to this supplier, same supplier I spoke to about the port, I'll just call it the port, so the Portile, and they said they've been looking for it for a year and they've not been able to find it. I asked my supplier, he said no problem, I can definitely get them for you. And he actually sent me pictures of, he's actually driven somewhere quite some distance away from where he actually is to go and actually purchase this and the Portile. So this is actually called and I know I'm going to butcher this, so please forgive me. This is an Anthurium papilliaminum. Anthurium papilliaminum. And I had 2, but one just decided today that it's not going to survive. So this is the other one. I don't think you can actually see it on the film, but it's a velvet leaf plant, but it's got a very metallic look to it. It's got a very metallic sheen. So again, this is a plant that a customer had asked me for. It's got a little bit of cold damage in transit, but other than that, it's perfectly healthy. It does have a new growth point here, although I'm not sure that that is in the best condition. But other than that, the plant is happy. When I did receive it, it did look a little bit sad, but it's perked right up now. So that is